Hey y'all! So, when I started my channel, I always said that I'm gonna be open and honest on this channel. And so, this video is like no other video. I'm definitely gonna be honest. In today's video, we're gonna talk about the dark, yes, the dark side of au pairing. I wanna shine a light on it because I feel like when it gets marketed and you're still in your home country, they sell it as super glamorous. And now, don't get me wrong, I don't regret becoming an au pair. However, I still want people to be aware of what you're signing up to and making sure that you are aware of these things and you kind of can prepare yourself or just reach out to know that you're not alone. The first point is loneliness. As an au pair, you're gonna come here, no matter how long you're here for, you are gonna have a sense of loneliness at some point. It's absolutely normal. Now, I do not recommend staying in your loneliness for a long time, but it's definitely normal to just feel alone and isolated, especially when you are here and it's like the first time you've been away from your family for so long, or this is the furthest you've been. And I feel like it can be worse when you don't have friends. Hence why I always recommend, I even did a video actually about how to make friends abroad, but I always recommend finding friends. But sometimes even when you have friends, you still can feel alone, you still can feel isolated, and it's absolutely normal. Don't feel like, oh, there's something wrong with me, or I'm being weak, or being a pansy. It's okay to feel isolated and lonely, but it's not okay to just let it consume you or overwhelm you or take over your life for your au pair here. I don't know if that makes sense. The second thing is the feeling of feeling stuck. What happens is you see your families back home, you come as an au pair and you're traveling and that whole thing, but you see your families back home getting married, having kids, just doing stuff, and you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck. I feel like I'm wasting my time here. I feel like I could have also been like having kids. I could have been in this job. I could have been doing all these things. Now, I just want to speak to that in particular because I've seen posts where au pairs feel stuck. They feel like they're not moving. They feel like, oh my gosh, it was the worst decision, that kind of stuff. Number one, there are experiences that you get to see, you get to do that people back home are not going to see or not going to do. They, like, you left your town, whether it's a small town or to a big town, and you've decided to do something different to make yourself happy. And then the second thing is, don't compare your life to other people. I feel like you start to feel stuck because you're comparing your life to other people's lives, and that's not going to benefit anyone. It's not going to help you. Yes, your friends and your friends back home had kids and got married and that whole thing, which is amazing. Like, I'm genuinely happy for them and I want you to be happy for them. But you also need to acknowledge that you are doing something great. It may not be like theirs, but you also doing something great. And so this point came out of a post I actually recently saw where an au pair was just feeling stuck and feeling like she wasted her life. But on the flip side, if you look at the positive side, she got to travel. She got to meet so many new people that she wouldn't have met if she was in that country. She got to grow. She got to make money. She got to do all these things. And she just got to live for herself. And whether she stays here or she goes back home, she will forever look back at this time, and hopefully it's a good time for her. She'll forever look back and be like, huh, I'm glad I did it. And so you're not stuck. It's just you have a different life to other people. But the sense of feeling stuck does hit you. If you're human or if you're in this process, you are going to feel limited. But it's not forever. It's gonna end after 1 year. It's gonna end after 2 years. And so start, like, just once again, as I said earlier, sitting and letting it consume you versus looking at the positive side and being like, yeah, I don't have kids, I don't have a husband, but I get to travel, I get to try these things, I have all this free time because I don't have kids, I don't have a husband, I can do au pairing in another country. And so I want to speak to that because I just want to make sure that people are not sitting in their emotions and feeling stuck and woe is me, I'm so sad, that whole thing. No, let's end that. The third thing, this one is one of my pet peeves. You will be taken advantage, especially by some host families that are not the greatest. And so if you don't speak up for yourself, and you don't know the rules of the agency, and you don't know what's required for you to do and what not to do, you are going to be taken advantage of. Sometimes you get even taken advantage of in dating. Like, they're like, oh, she's new here. Like, or listen, if you don't know something, it's always okay to ask. There's a bunch of au pair groups on Facebook. DM me. Ask somebody who's in the au pair world. It's okay to ask, especially if you feel like something is off. But even if you don't think something is off, it's okay to Google what are my requirements, because one of the biggest mistakes I've done when I first became an au pair was I didn't pay attention to the rules of what an au pair should do. And so now looking back, I was like, poor baby angel. She was taking advantage. Like the things I did were just ridiculous and I shouldn't have done them. But you will be taken advantage of, especially if you have a host family that is not the greatest. Like if you have a host family that is just not the greatest, 101% you're going to be taken advantage of. Now, if you have a great host family that knows the agency rules and just knows and have had au pairs or even haven't had au pairs, you won't be taken advantage of, but you will feel it, or you will feel like you're doing more than you should. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I just want to say not every host family is like that. And so there are host families that take advantage of you, but there are also host families that au pairs take advantage of. So flip side. But just make sure you speak up, whether you're a host family or an au pair. Speak up for yourself and ask. Like, definitely, there's nothing wrong with asking. There's no question that is stupid. I always say there's no question that is too stupid. So I rather have people ask and be like, oh no, that's part of your job, or that's not part of your job, and you learn to speak up for yourself. But I'm definitely telling you that in this process, in this journey, you can be taken advantage. Number 4. You see, number four, I was like, this could not happen to me. This could not happen to so-and-so. And I think I put a stigma on what it's meant to look like until I encountered a few people that were going through it. And I was like, you don't look like this. Number 4 is your mental health. If you don't take care of your mental health, it literally, this could be the worst thing for you if you don't take care of your mental health. If you don't either speak life of yourself. For me, it's like reading the word, it's going to church. You guys be like, oh, this girl's always at church posting up. Listen, I'll be going sane. And it's also like taking social media breaks. It's taking time away. Like this weekend, my friend lives so close to my house, like close by, but I packed the bag and I was like, I'm going to go away to her house for the weekend because I needed to separate my job from my social life, or just like I needed a different space. I needed to be out the house. And it's not even to say anything specific happened. It was just like, okay, space is closing in. And when I came back on Sunday, I was excited to be back. My energy was back. I was so much better. But because I was like, oh my gosh, I live and work in the same place. It's like, it's like your routine is the same thing every day. There's no like drive home, or it's like the same shows, the same this. And so having different routines, just going out. And when I start to feel it, I start noticing it in small things. Like I just want to stay in bed and watch TV all the time. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to do even things that I like. And so I had to make sure that I don't like, I have to counter, like what's this thing, counteract it. Is that the word when you go against it? I always had to counter it, because in the beginning I was just like, no, I'm fine, like I'm fine, I'm great. But I always say, make sure you take care of your mental health, because even if you don't struggle, and I've always been like, I don't struggle with mental health or bad thoughts, whatever. And I was like, it could happen to me. Like when I started realizing that it could happen to me if I don't take care of myself, that's when I was like, oh, okay. Because even though I have a great host family, it still can take a toll on you, because homesickness hits at one time, isolation hits at another time, and you start feeling these thoughts, and suddenly you're going down a spiral. And taking care of my mental health has helped me not get to that spiral. It's helped me like reassure myself. And it's like small things, like I notice things that are gonna make me sad, or I just notice like, oh, you're getting to that phase, okay, let's withdraw. Why are you feeling that way? And it's like small things like going for Starbucks. When I'm so consumed with creating content for my channel, or like my TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, and I'm still becoming an au pair, and if it was a hard week with my host kid and I'm like super busy, I start to notice that I haven't been taking care of myself, my brain, my physical health, my emotions, all that, and I become overwhelmed, and I'm like, okay, I need to hold it in, and I just need to rest. I need to sit in my emotions for a few minutes, but get up, girl. Go work out, go do stuff that makes you happy. And that's what's kept my brain okay. That's what's kept me safe, is surrounding myself with people who love me, surrounding myself with things that I like to do. I love walking, hiking, that kind of stuff. I love getting Starbucks. Sometimes I'm like, Starbucks is not in the budget, but I'm like, oh, I really need something. I'm like, okay, I am gonna take for my my budget or whatever. I'm just like, I need to do something for me, because sometimes you just like go and you want to make sure everything is okay, but you're not checking on yourself. And so I want to talk to that. And then I also want to talk to the au pairs that are constantly sleeping. Like, it's a thing where the minute your host kid is gone to school, you jump back into bed, you sleep the whole day, you get up at 3:30, you get dressed, and you go get your host kid, and that's your routine. That is also not good for you. That is not good for your mental health. You need to get out the house. You need to not just watch TV and be on social media and TikTok the whole time. You need to go for a walk, go hiking. If you have a gym membership, use it. You need to read. You need to do something to stimulate your brain, because doing that the whole time is just not going to help. But I feel like people don't talk about it, and so people just go into this darkness. And there was even an au pair that asked, like probably a month ago or 2 months ago, on one of the groups I'm on. She was like, she's trying to decide if she should extend to a second here or go home. But she's like, my mental health does not allow, or what did she say? She said something about she wants to extend, but she feels like the best thing for her to do is go home, because she is at her end, and like her mental health is like at its peak, and she doesn't know how to survive, and that whole thing. And so she was like, it would be great to make more money, but at the same time, I feel like I should go home and refocus on my mental health, because it's taken a toll. And I was like, oof, like I genuinely feel bad that it's got to that point, because little baby steps in the right direction could have avoided it, but also little baby steps in the wrong direction could make it worse. And yeah, my goal is to make sure that at the end of this year, au pairs are not leaving like drained or just like picking up mental health. Because funny enough, most people pick it up during the au pair here, which is the craziest thing. When I look at all the people's posts, I'm like, that is crazy that you just like it got triggered or created or built during your au pair here. And so that's something I also want to speak a lot about, just like how to help you guys maintain it. Number 5, listen, with number 5, it also goes back to the whole mental health thing, whatever, is you always on. Now, that was also one of the reasons why I wanted to go to my friend's houses, because when I go visiting, I know that I'm visiting and I'm a visitor. But here, I'm also like, I live here, but I work here, and I feel like, and I said to my friend the other day that I'm yet to drop the world off. And I think that's why I'm so excited to go home when I do go home, is that I just get to, like, don't get me wrong, I am as home as I could be in this house. Like, they've made sure that I'm comfortable. I have a great family. I'm super privileged. But there's something about going to your mom's house or your grand's house or the house you grew up in that just like loads the world off your shoulders at the door. And you're just like, and so I was like, I feel like I'm always on. And even though I'm like sleeping, I'm relaxed, I have a deep sleep, no deep sleep, whatever, I just feel like I'm always on, because it's like it's home, but it's not home. It's like my home in America. Now, unless you have your own place, like I think if I have my own apartment or my own house here, it wouldn't be the same thing, because it would be like my actual house, and it's like, I don't know, it's like my thing. I'm not living with other people, or if I was married, I'm living with like a husband, that kind of stuff. And it's just like my family. I don't know if it's making sense, but here it's like they're your host family. Like it's like my family. I feel like we have such a great relationship that this is the closest it can get. But at the same time, I'm still always on. And I always thought when I had bad families that this feeling would go away when you have good families. Like when you have a great family, you will instantly feel like family. It'll be like your mom's house, your grand's house, and then like I have the best. Like it can't get better. And I'm just like, you still feel on. You still feel like you always on. And being able to just load that weight off at my mom's house or at my grand's house would be so amazing, and that's one thing people hardly talk about. Number 6, and I've been vocal about this on my channel, but I added this in because it's a real thing, but you will have crazy homesickness. Like, there'll be a day where you're like, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself, let's go, it's been amazing, and then somebody calls you and they're like, I'm engaged, and you're like, yay, but you're like sad because you wanted the engagement party, or like they have a wedding and you missed it, or something happens to your family and you can't just drive to the hospital, or like, you know, like there's situations where you'll see stuff and you're like, man, everyone's at that party, I know that if I was back home I'd be at that party too. And so it's stuff like that where it's like you go through this life and it's like boom, a bump, and you're like, oh, I'm good, it's amazing, and then it's like boom. And it's crazy because as I said, I've gone to places and I've lived in other places, but when homesickness hits, it's like the weirdest, most crazy emotion, because you be out here second guessing yourself, like, am I depressed? Am I? And then you're like, no. You think about it and you're just like, now I must say, if you dwindle in your homesickness for too long, you can end up getting depressed. I have to say that because it's happened to so many people. And so I always say, when I start to feel homesickness, one of the big things I've been doing lately is recognizing it, because you can't solve a problem without knowing what the problem is. You have to like first figure it out. And for me, for a while, I'd be like, why am I so sad? And then I'd be like, oh, like so and so is getting married this weekend and I can't be there, and I've been talking to them, with that kind of stuff. And so I'd be like, okay, how can I be part of their adventure while I'm so far? And so I would do things either for the person, or I'd be like, I'm gonna FaceTime into the wedding, or I'm gonna like, and even if I'm FaceTiming into the wedding, I'm gonna do my nails, do my hair, like, you know, like dress up, that whole thing. And another thing is, I'm going to sit in my feelings for a certain amount of time. I'm like, okay, Angel, you have from 3 to 5 to deal with him. Be sad. Be is not fit, unfit. Do all that. I want to be there. I want to go home thing. But then at 5 o'clock, get up, go. Go to Starbucks. Go for a walk. Go, like, get yourself up. Surround yourself with things. And then also, like, if you have close friends, I say to my close friends, I'm feeling homesick. And they're like, oh, okay, how can we help you? Or like, do you want a hug? Do you want me to drive by and give you a hug? Stuff like that, where it's like, homesickness is crazy and it ambushes you and it's like weird, but if you channel it the right way, it becomes like, oh, because you start to embrace the memories. You start to like, I have a great appreciation for my country now, for my family. I didn't realize what I had when I was living there until I moved away. And so now I'm just like, I'm grateful that I got to do all those memories instead of me sitting and sulking. Instead of me sitting on sulking about not seeing my cousin, that whole thing, I'm just like, I'm grateful that I actually made those memories, and I'm so excited to make more memories with them. And I'm gonna still cry in the future and be sad, but I just know that they're proud of me, and I'm making them proud, and I'm making myself proud, and I'm doing what I want to do and what I get to do, and just all that. But this comes after I've had my 3 to 5 crying moments, because before I would be like in tears and be like, and I'm just like, it doesn't help, because I'm trying to suppress my emotions, versus crying is actually good for you. And I was not a crier until my dad died, and a friend of mine was like, crying is not a sign of weakness. And I've been learning that specifically this year, that crying is not a sign of weakness. I'm letting my emotions out. And so when you feel homesick, it's okay to cry, let your emotions out, but girl, not for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 days. No, like set a time frame and keep going. And you find, get up, get dressed, get some coffee, look good, put lipstick. I will do my makeup. Starbucks is always it. Hang out with my friends. And sometimes I may not even say to them I'm homesick. I'm just like, let's get something to eat. And they're like, oh, okay. And we get something to eat, and they don't even know that hanging out with them cured it. But yeah, this is the dark side of repairing. I feel like I covered most to all of it. Let me know if there's anything else I'm missing. But I hope this video does not make you afraid to become an au pair, because as I said in the beginning, even though I've been through all these situations, or even just some of them, I still don't regret becoming an au pair. But yeah, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.